So for this project, I am, as you saw in the test footage, which as of right now, I haven't filmed yet, the wonders of time travel editing. But I'm gonna make this is a goedendag, and it basically is a war club used, Battle of the Golden Spurs. It's basically a simple club slash spear that was given to militiamen. Basically pump out a bunch of these pretty quickly. They're really easy to make, and they don't really take a lot of training to use. I'll leave a link to the original video where actually I do explain this particular weapon a little bit more, as stay. Okay, I'll just have to hold it. As well as I kind of explain the battle a little more. But for this video, that's not really important. So if you want to, when you're done with this video, go watch that video. But building it is going to essentially be the same, only, well, I'm going to cut it down. But same as the last one, scrap chunk of spring steel to make the cap, or, well, yeah, the cap. This base is wrapped around, little piece on top. The spike is a railroad spike, pretty simple. And then we're going to take a shovel handle, cut it down, and then use that for the handle. You could just use a branch or really any handle, but shovel handles are already the perfect shape, and for this it was a perfect size. But yeah, I just need to cut it down a little bit. And I was gonna make this a while ago, but I was in the process of getting my new anvil mounted, so that way I'm not using my old anvil, which is a piece of railroad track. It looks bad, but it's a huge upgrade from what I started with. So anyway, I'm gonna throw these in the forge and, well, probably widen this out a little bit and flatten it, and then wrap it around to where it fits on my shovel handle, and also forge that into a spike. Now that we have our 3 pieces forged, this is going to be kind of my top cap. It's actually, I think it's called a disc mower, as if that's off of. It already has a perfect hole, so I just kind of flattened it out a little bit. And I'm just going to cut it to fit here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut that to where it's even. Grind this to where this is a little narrower, a little rounder. And that's, of course, pointier. Make that round. And then we're ready to, well, mount it. Now that I have all my parts rough ground to shape, I left some of them with a little more meat on them just so I can grind it off after I have them mounted, so that way it doesn't have stuff hanging over the side or having them too small if that happen. But now I'm going to take my shovel handle. I have it marked on this end so where I can cut it off because it kind of tapers here and then winds out and it's flat, and it looks really weird and doesn't hold so well, so I'm just going to cut it a little shorter and then go up here, second mark where I'm gonna cut it off so that way it's not, you know, full length. So I didn't actually plan this, but the cap is the almost perfect size. I figured I was gonna have to sand this down a lot to get it to fit, but it looks like all I'm gonna have to do is just kind of hammer it into place and it'll be pretty snug, which is nice. It's also really round. To those of you who don't know, if this is like one of the first videos of mine you're watching or new, this is actually my first time, actually I think I mentioned at the beginning, it's the first time ever using an anvil. I've only ever had kind of makeshift ones, so actually having a horn to make something this round is pretty new to me, so kind of glad that worked out. So I'm going to hammer this on, then I'm going to measure out how big I need to make the spike, probably take a bit just slightly smaller than that, drill a hole, if the camera will focus, there, straight down the middle of that, heat this piece up, and then burn it in to where this will fit perfectly into the hole. And then I'm gonna take my drill press, put a hole through where these fold. Gotta see where they overlap. All the way through this as well, so that way I can drive a pin holding it all together. Okay, so I didn't expect it to be quite that tight, but it's on there and it is not going anywhere. So I don't think he really heat treat this, but it's a metal cap. It's not a blade. It won't really be necessary. And it's already carbon steel, so it's already a little tougher. But what I'm going to do now is drill my hole and then burn this into it. Now that I have that hole already burned in and this fits in, that's a bit loose, but the epoxy will hold it in. Now I'm going to drill my hole through here so I can pin the whole thing in place. Okay, now that's in place and this is, well, it's not coming out, it's still loose, but it's not coming out. I'm gonna go ahead and harden this, and then I'm gonna sand those probably polyurethane or something similar off the handle, and then shape it a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and burn it, so it'll look probably similar to that. This one is stained because I want it to look more like an aged medieval look, but this I want to look more like something that's been through, a trench war or something, so I want it to be burned instead. Plus, I don't want it to be a direct copy of that, even though I guess it pretty much is. Okay, while I'm waiting on the steel spike to cool from temper, I'm going to go ahead and sand the coating off of this and then burn it to give it a nice battle-worn look. And for this, I just use 100 grit sandpaper. I don't find any really need to smooth it out after that because I'm going to burn it and it doesn't really make a difference whether you sand it smooth and then burn it or just use rough stuff. Okay, now we're ready to assemble everything. I got JB Weld mixed up here, not sponsored, but I'm just gonna fill this hole in with it, stick this in along with my cap, strap it on first. Then I'm gonna cover that in it so that way this stays in place, and then stick my pin through and rivet it out.
Probably figure out how the pinhole even is.
So that was easy to build. Not gonna lie, I see why these things were made. I mean, the bigger version took me a lot longer to do, just because I didn't have as good of equipment and didn't know what I was doing, but with this, I probably got it done in maybe a couple hours of work time tops. And if I were to make a bunch of them, maybe had a couple people helping me, I could have probably, spent a weekend and made about 50 of these or more. But yeah, it's a fun little project. Gonna be fun to go and smash some stuff and, stab some things that actually stab better. Preferably something that looks cooler than that. But you've already seen that because I put that in the beginning of the video, not the end.